Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Compx part number 8053 or C8053-C346A-14A. So the C8053 is a member of a family of cam locks that are just different lengths. The 346 is the key number, so 346A means if you buy locks that are 346A, they're going to be key to like. 14A is just the finish, which refers to the face of the cylinder plug. This is what the package looks like, and we're going to go over all of the pieces. It is a simple and straightforward cam lock in the sense that there's lots of pieces in the bag, as you saw. There's the cylinder housing, or maybe the shell. There's the cylinder plug itself. This is what's called a disc tumbler or a wafer tumbler design. Either term would work. Disc is how I think it would be better called, because I think the term wafer tumbler may elicit thoughts of a Schlage wafer lock that was made for many decades. I don't know from when to when, probably the 40s to maybe the 80s. I don't really know, but that was a lock that used a similar sort of tumbler, but those were called wafers. I would call these discs, or this would be a disc tumbler is what this would be called. And this is the cylinder plug, and it incorporates 5 discs. And so what happens is the discs are biased, are spring biased. Okay, inside of here there's a tiny little spring pushing it up and out. When the key is not inserted, those discs stand proud of the cylinder plug. When you insert that key in, the cuts in the key work with the preparations on the inside of the disc to bring them to shear, tugging them down. And it's when you have the key inserted that will allow you to rotate the plug within the housing. The plug is prepped with these 4 preparations on all on 4 sides, at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6, and 9 o'clock. That's where the discs will reside into that preparation. Okay, actually you can't really, you could put it in without the key in there, but the key would go in first. Okay, then you would be able to install that into the lock. Once you remove the key, those are basically, they're not locked in place because you can push the unit out, but you can't turn the plug at all. I can't turn this without the key because those protruding discs are up inside of the preparation in the cylinder housing. Okay, what holds that in? Well, this little screw holds that in to the back of. Okay. The screw will hold that plug to the housing, but of course before that you need one of the 2 included tail pieces. You'll get a straight tail piece and you will get an offset tail piece. The square part is the preparation that goes to the back of the cylinder itself. You can install that however you like. This way, okay? Then that screw goes on, and that's what keeps it in place. Before you get the tail piece added, you might first want to add the cylinder bezel. Okay? If you are using the prong nut washer that will slide onto the back of the unit, so that if you were to use the nut, which you would, you'll bring that on, you tighten that down, and it will tighten it down over what you're attaching this to. And those prongs will help resist any sort of rotational movement on the item by biting into the back of the wood cabinet. If you're using this on a metal cabinet, you wouldn't use that at all, and this cylinder is probably too long. Then, once you have all that loaded, you can then bring your cam, okay, then your screw, and you're done. The last thing that we've not shown you are these 3 little plastic insert pads. They are simply meant to allow you to pop those into whichever cam you're using to be able to take up any sort of space or movement on your drawer. little bit of movement, you might want to pop one of those into your cam to be able to take up that extra space. Okay, so a couple of dimensional properties that are important for us to be able to talk about right away, and let's do that now. Obviously, the length of the cam is the first thing that people talk about. The underside of the head to the back of the body is about 1 3/16 inches, and there's going to be a particular size that this will be qualified as. And then what they're saying is it's 1 3/16 inches length, but there's always inherently with this is a maximum material thickness that this can be used on. In this unit, it's 7/8 of an inch. So when you need to change the max material thickness you're working on, so too does change the length of the cylinder itself. Then, of course, your two cams. You've got that straight cam from the center of the prep, or the center of the cylinder plug to the tip. Looks like it's about 1.5 inches, maybe 1 7/16. Overall width of that material, about 5/8, maybe 9/16. Then your offset cam, from the center of the back of the cylinder plug to the tip of the cam, looks like it's about 1 1/8 inches, maybe 1 3/16. The offset there, it'd be better if we held it this way. It doesn't matter, but looks like it's about 3/8 of an inch offset from the underside to the outside. So we're measuring from the back here to the back here, about 3/8. And that's it. Now, there is some extended description supporting information. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look at that now. Okay, so this is the item that we're looking at. And this is the item here. It shows this different cylinder, which we'll talk about in a moment. So our extended description information, each lock comes with one stop washer, which allows the cam to turn 90 degrees. There is no stop washer included with this series. This lock will turn 90 degrees clockwise, okay, or this can rotate in the direction that you require it to move. It will rotate 90 degrees, and the key pull position is both locked and unlocked. And the reason that it turns 90 degrees is because of a preparation that is in the cylinder housing itself. There's a ward, or a fence perhaps, a ward that is on the underside of the head, and there is a preparation in the cylinder housing to allow it to turn 90 degrees. And you can, of course, assemble that so that you have your key vertical or horizontal in your locked or unlocked position, however you like. You can continue to rotate the cylinder so that it's installed how you like it, which, you know, is somewhat alluded to here. You can install it so that it operates however you actually require it. So there's no stop washer included with this. The stop washer would mount on the back of the cylinder plug and would have a preparation that would look like, the stop washer kind of looks like that. Then the hole for the screw goes there. And you can rotate that 90 degrees this way or this way. Well, they make different stop washers naturally, and that's how it's governed. And you can move this washer on the back of the unit to suit your requirements, or they of course have stop washers that would be more, you know, that would permit 180 degree rotation. Same sort of concept. That sort of preparation is done on the lock housing itself, so you know there's not an extra washer. Cams included for lift or overlay construction and a straight cam are here. For overlay application, the combined thickness of the front and frame cannot exceed the cylinder length. So what they're saying there is, when you have an overlay application, you need to be mindful. You need to be mindful that we're dealing with what the overall length is, and that it cannot exceed your cylinder length, to make sure you can get everything installed. You know, obviously this sort of application, a flush application, is pretty typical. overlay or a partial overlay, you might call that, depending on what your installation is. So the cylinder length is important to know, as is the max material thickness, to be sure as well. So just be mindful of what you're ordering so that it works. And then, of course, knowing that you have that offset cam that will allow you to tailor the requirements based on the equipment that you have included in the package. Key removable in both locked and unlocked positions. And it does come with, indeed, 2 original keys. They will be stamped C346A, so if you need to do other cylinder types and you want them keyed alike or specifically keyed different, you know what key number to use or what key number to not use. Unassembled removal core versions of this lock are available. That's what we're dealing with. Okay, and you can have the factory key this material in different arrangements. They can be keyed alike, keyed different. They can be master keyed. We can help you with that sort of keying requirement. They're sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. This link to the cut sheet here, actually, let's just hop to the manufacturer's page here, and we'll be able to get to that page through the full product catalog. And this is a 116-page document of locks, of cam locks. Compx does a really great job, and I'm just going to search for 8053 so that we get to the page without scrolling on indefinitely. Compx does a great job because the quality of the product, most definitely, but the quality of their personnel as well. They are exceptional in their responsiveness when it comes to technical support questions, quite patient as well. Okay, let's get back to 8053. Now this is the cut sheet linked to down below, or there might be 2 actually that's there. So you're seeing a lot of what we've already shown you in the extended description. This is where it comes from. Applications, here's our 8052, 53, 54, 55. The only difference there is the length. We're dealing with a 5.3. That's in a 14A finish, which is the, polished chrome type finish. 3 is a brass finish. 4G, I don't remember what 4G is. Antique brass. Okay, we just skipped over it there. Antique brass is the 4G finish. So this table is what is important to determine what part number you need, 5.1, 5.2, 5.4, 5.3, 5.5. The cylinder length and the maximum material thickness is what changes. The same client required a much shorter cylinder as well, so we did some 52s for them on the lock because they have a very thin item that they're installing it down to, is what they're doing. So a very short 5/8 length. Okay. So now you see cylinder length, maximum material thickness. They can do different key-to-light codes in those particular lock types based on the way that you order them. D8785, if you need extra keys cut or looking for the blank for that, that's the blank to order. That's in this catalog as well. Okay, so that really wraps up everything about the lock. Page 23 for details. They may be referring to cams. Let's get to page 23. Oh, and they sure are. So lots of different cams with drawings that are shown here as well. Now, I had shown you the... Let's back up and see if they tell us. The 8053 lock using the C7014 cam. Okay, let's get back to page 23. 7014. Right here. Okay, so our offset, C7014. They say the offset is 5/16. I had measured 3/8, but I wasn't being very accurate. So that shows you absolutely what that offset is, the way that we had measured. The way we had measured it. You're not including the material thickness. It's not from the absolute outside to the absolute outside. It's that dimension less the material thickness. Now, you can also see that there are different cams that you might be able to get your hands on for your requirements. The straight cam that's here certainly appears to be the length of the cylinder we're dealing with. I forgot what we measured it. About 1.5 inches or so. straight cam. Yeah, about 1.5 inches. I don't see that cam listed there. From the tip to the center line of the lock. Ours is definitely measuring 1.5 inches. Here's another reference to what those stop washers can look like as well. When you place them on the back, these cams, you know, you're not using that because that's done in the cylinder itself. The rest of the catalog is awfully handy, as it will allow you to review all kinds of different associated peripheral items as it pertains to these cam locks. Okay. I would use this as a tremendously valuable resource when you're looking up cam locks. You know, the world of cam locks is one that's governed mostly by really cheap throwaway, you know, sort of imported items. This client specifically requires a domestically manufactured lock from a company that can support their keying requirements. And there's other people who will do a good job like Compx, but Compx is really the name that comes first to mind. They're not the only name that comes to mind, but they do come to mind first, probably because their footprint within the industry is larger. Lots of different lock types here as well. So that link to the manufacturer's page that we pulled that up will allow you to review all of the Compx products that we sell. A link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to that product catalog. Very handy sort of document. The website is neat. They have lots of different types of documents here as it pertains to a overwhelming majority, due to an overwhelming majority of different lock business divisions that they have. So we primarily deal with Compx National. You get into Timberline and you're talking about locks for furniture, like cabinet locks. Compx Chicago is going to be known for their tubular style locks. That would be a radial key design that has a nib and cuts in it that you would see in a vending machine. And then other items are here as well. Let's wrap up this video on camera. So just quickly, a standard installation would be, and that preparation for the stop, as I rotate the cylinder around, right there, you can see there's an extra preparation where if I go here, there's not an extra preparation. And that's where you're getting that 90-degree rotation out of this ward. That's right here. Well, I don't know that it's a ward. It might, I think we'll call it a fence. That little raised area right there. So your installation is going to be, that goes in. Okay, the key can come out. Your tailpiece goes on after, of course, your bezel, your prong washer. That's what they call a double D shape, flattened on both sides. If you use your imagination, it looks like a D looking this way and a D looking that way. A double D shape is what you're going to see in a steel filing cabinet. And there are dies that they have for punching that if you have to add a lock to an installation where there's not one already. And as you can see, it goes together super easy. Not much really to worry about there. Okay. It's on there a little loose. Key pull position in both positions. Very typical material. If you have any questions on the Compx, this is their C8053. It happens to be in a 14A finish in that 346 key, or any other Compx product. Please feel free to reach out to us. We've also worked with them on some custom requirements as well, where the client had a need to hold it in with a spring clip, but needed the side of the body sliced so that they could fit the body into a very thick piece of aluminum, bring the spring clip down, and have preparations on the side of the lock body for that. You know, they were absolutely accommodating. So there you go. Any questions on this or any other Compx product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.